Today we're talking about setting goals and why they actually matter, not the motivational poster version of it and all the bullshit that comes with that. So not vision boards, not vague intentions, real goals, practical goals. The kind that influence how you spend your time and how you make decisions, and ultimately where your life ends up. We're going to cover 10 things only in this ep today. Why setting goals matters, why most people fail at it, and how to set goals that actually stick, and how to use them to build momentum, belief, and long-term habits. Stick around to the end, and I'll give you a simple way to apply this immediately with a free giveaway. Hi, my name is Lawrence. I've generated over 100 million across all of my companies, failed a lot, and made more mistakes than most. What I share comes from real experience. No bullshit, just the facts. Appreciate you joining today. So number one, why setting goals matters. If you don't set goals, you don't consciously direct your life. So you drift, right? And it's random. Life will still happen, sure. Time will pass, sure. But you won't be intentional. You definitely won't be intentional about where your energy goes. And this is critically important to get things right in life, short term and long term. Goals give you direction and framework. And I'll talk more about framework later. They give your effort, sacrifice, and hard work a purpose. They turn days into progress instead of simply repetition. When you have goals, decisions get easier and life feels pretty good. You start asking, does this move me closer or further away every time you need to make a decision? Your brain doesn't know how to guide you if it doesn't have a path to follow. It will simply react. It will become sporadic and definitely unintentional. Example, if your goal, for example, is to improve your financial position. With goals, you start thinking differently about spending, about work, how much you earn, and the opportunities that you see. You don't need motivation. Motivation doesn't work. It's only temporary motivation. Now, the goal filters decisions for you and keeps you laser focused. This is why they're so important. And the byproduct is fulfillment. And fulfillment is a sense of achievement. And this keeps the demons at bay. Well, it did for me. And maybe, just maybe, this is where, for you, happiness lives. How cool would that be? So goals don't guarantee success. Sure. They simply give you direction. This direction delivers results and fulfillment. And direction beats randomness every time. Number two, most people set goals the wrong way. Most people aren't bad at life. They just don't have any direction. Maybe that's you. When it comes to goals, people set too many or simply don't know what goals to set. They set goals that sound impressive, but really have no connection to them, personally, and it has no substance. Plus, they sometimes set goals they think they want because others want that for them. They also set goals once and never look at them again. I guarantee you, as soon as I said that, you know someone who does that. Goals are forever evolving. You can change them. There are no rules. You make the rules. If you don't want anyone to know your goals, don't tell anyone. That's completely up to you. I did that. When I told people about my goals when I was younger, in my early 20s, back in 1915, people laughed at me. Now, they said, look, Lawrence is a bit of a dreamer. None of that will really happen. He doesn't know what he's doing. They used to say that behind my back. But you've just got to move on from that. F those people. Hopefully that criticism fuels you. It did for me. If not, reserve your goals for those that have your back. All right, so setting goals correctly. My advice, keep it simple and stay on track to what really moves the needle forward. So slow down, think deeply about your year ahead. And let's just limit this to 1 year for now. You don't need to think about 3 or 5. That's pretty old school. So think about the year ahead carefully over many days or even weeks. Get it to 75% and then lock in. It doesn't need to be 100. So you need commitment to yourself, no one else. Do this and it can change your life. It may be, I want to increase my income this year. by $20,000. We have an education brand, so we hear that a lot. Great. So write that down. And what are the 3 things that you can think of that will get you there? Not the 20, not the 1, 3 things, remember? The 3-thing philosophy. And it might be, so to increase my income by $20,000, when you think about that and write it down, it may be this. Get certified in X. Could be conduct market research about types of jobs in X. So X is industry. Update my resume and start applying for new jobs by the end of March. So that makes it real. It's tangible. You can read it, you can understand it, and more importantly, you can execute against it. So a goal that isn't revisited is not a goal. It's simply a waste of time. Don't even start. Just don't. Why lie to yourself and everyone else around you? Like, don't write down anything to start with. Maybe that's who you are. Maybe you wrote goals down last year, did nothing. Maybe you've been doing that for years, doing nothing. Or maybe you're watching this episode today and there's something in this content that might unlock something for you. So you need to think about that. You need to get focused. You need to think deeply. Ignore the noise from others and lock in. Okay, number 3, keep goals limited and keep them simple. You need to understand them. One of the biggest mistakes people make after setting goals is setting too many goals. Now that ambition is great, but it'll create confusion. It'll birth a whole bunch of unicorns and you'll be chasing those unicorns around the house for many, many weeks to come. So don't do that. Right, so we know that that's good intent, right? You want to improve, I get it. But you need to be specific and it needs to be a reducted list. A reducted list? Reducted? What it normally is, the problem is your brain. It simply doesn't work that way. When you overload yourself with goals, nothing gets attention. Certainly the things that need it. Everything becomes a noise. And noise leads to inaction. Simplicity creates clarity. Clarity creates execution. You don't need a long list of stuff you're not going to do. You need a short and deliberate one. I've found that somewhere between, say, 5 to 10 goals maximum is the sweet spot. Enough to cover the big areas in your life and also cover the small ones. So not so many that you feel overwhelmed, but every time you look at them, you go, got it, makes sense to me. So your goals should also be written in plain language. No jargon, no bullshit, no fluff, no fancy pants. Do people still say fancy pants? Yeah. Oh, I haven't said fancy pants for a long time. And no explanation required. If you can't understand your own goal immediately when you write them down, it's too complicated. Too many goals create overwhelm. Overwhelm kills action. So keep your goals limited, specific, simple, and easy to understand. If it's clear, it gets done. If it's confusing, it doesn't. Number 4, make goals real, not fantasy. This is where honesty really counts. Goals are meant to stretch you, not destroy your belief in yourself. There's nothing wrong with ambition. Sure, ambition is healthy, right? It's necessary, in fact. But there is a line where ambition turns into fantasy. And fantasy goals quietly do damage. And they're unattainable. Because it forces you to quit if they're unattainable. When you consistently miss goals, something happens internally. You stop trusting yourself. You stop believing your own words. And over time, that erodes confidence. A good goal should feel uncomfortable, but possible. It should make you sit up, maybe a little straighter, but it shouldn't feel ridiculous or detached from reality. It's too opposing. You should be able to look at it and say, you know what, this will be hard, but if I execute well and I work really hard at this, it's definitely achievable. You need that. You don't want it to be in the boundaries of something that is unattainable, that you truly believe to be unattainable. And you know, deep down you know, in the back of your mind you know, but you write it down anyway. So goal setting will require you to be honest with yourself. Even if it hurts, It's okay if you write goals down and other people can attain them and you cannot. Who cares about them? It's not about them, it's about you. So you want to write stuff down that you can get really dialed in on. For example, say if you're young and you earn 80K a year and you're setting a goal to earn 500K in the next 12 months. Now, that seems like a very, very big leap, does it not? Of course it does. And you want to do it in 12 months? Well, how are you going to do that? If you've never done that before, and that's a 4 to 5x of what you're currently earning in 12 months, how is that possible? So you need to make it real. Okay? With no plan, no execution, it's simply fantasy. That goal sounds impressive, but it's disconnected from your current reality. A more realistic stretch might be moving from 80K to 100K or 120. Now, with a clear strategy, you will say to yourself, well, that's going to be hard. I don't know how I'm going to do it. But deep down and in the back of your mind, you know that it's achievable. And guess what happens? It builds belief. It also builds momentum. The 500K goal doesn't disappear. It becomes a long-term target. You work towards it in iterations, one step at a time. Right? So step 1 first, then step 2 or step 3 over the next few years. So don't turn it off, don't erase it, but just get it off the table right now. And that's how real progress works. Setting a goal to increase income by 20 to 30% with defined and definitive actions is a realistic stretch. It forces growth without breaking confidence. You don't want to break confidence. Look at anyone you admire or you look up to. Whatever the reason for your admiration, I bet it took that individual many years to achieve what they have created for you to have that admiration for them. An actor, a musician, anybody. Every successful individual, every successful business made mistakes. And it took years to establish long-term success. It's never an overnight, one-night wonder, ever. I don't think I've ever seen it. Unless you're Sam Bankman-Fried. That was a joke. You know, people make mistakes. Belief is built through achievement. Achievement comes from realistic stretch, targets working in iterations. Fantasy goals feed ego. Get rid of them. Real goals build trust in yourself first and get you to where you want to be. And the people around you, if it's not a fantasy goal and it seems attainable, are more than likely to help you along the way. So, breathe. Be real. Stay committed. All right, number 5, start big, then break things down. So, this is where most good goals fall apart. People set huge goals and stop there. It feels inspiring for a moment, then reality hits. Now, big goals without structure feel overwhelming. Overwhelm leads to procrastination. This is slightly different to the last point, right? We're really going to get dialed in on a couple of things here. Procrastination is one of them. Procrastination kills momentum. The solution is simple. You start with the big picture, then you break them down. Your big goal gives you direction, that's great. It sort of gets you thinking and forecasting and looking forward. The breakdown gives you clarity on what to do next. So think layers, right? Annual goals, quarterly goals, monthly goals, and then weekly actions, right? Or it could be monthly targets. So your brain doesn't execute on someday, it executes on this week, on the date. You need to have a date, you need to have a number so you can hold yourself accountable to that. And the brain will get really dialed in on that number. You'll start to feel the anxiety lift when you've got 3 months to complete a goal and hit a target and you're only 50% done. That pressure you feel is good. You want that, right? Now, if you don't know what action to take in the next 7 days, the goal essentially stays theoretical. For example, if your goal is to improve your health, right? Like we're moving into a new year, 2026, and it's to get fit this year. Like I said before about the number metric, right? It's too broad. It won't work. Get fit, well, what does that mean? So But breaking it down changes everything, right? So quarter one might be building consistency. Monthly might be, let's do 3 workouts a week for 4 weeks. Weekly might be scheduling those sessions and showing up, right? It could be personal trainer. It may also include buy a bench press by the end of January, right? So that's a technical purchase application, right? With a date, super powerful. And come on, who doesn't want to buy a new bench press? I just bought a new bench press. So find a friend I can work out with by February 12th. Plan a new diet and commence by January 3rd. And review by January 10th to analyze progress. Now, the goal is real because you can see it, you can hear it, it's actionable, it's accountable, and it's got metrics attached to it. Another example could be if your goal is to buy your first investment property. Like I hear that a lot from young entrepreneurs these days. Now, that can feel like a massive goal and super intimidating, but broken down, it becomes manageable and it becomes believable. So what would that look like? It might look like this. 1 quarter may be undergo some education and conduct a personal financial review of yourself and your partner, for example. Next, it might be start saving a deposit by January 10 and improving my borrowing capacity, right? The next one may be set up a new account via direct debit so I cannot see the money going into that account and I cannot withdraw from it. This must be done by Jan 20. Or get Lawrence's bank account details so I can give him all my money and he can use it for his property portfolio. That was a joke, don't do that. But if you want to do that, look in the comments and my bank account details will be in there. Don't give them to Sam Bankman-Fried. It could also be monthly actions. Could be commit to speaking to 3 brokers. It could be commit to viewing 4 properties, right, by February 12th. Weekly actions might be research suburbs and run the numbers and select 3 suburbs to purchase in 2026. All right. Have this completed by March 10. See how specific that is? Those are really good goals that are really definitively defined to the point of time and what's in them. So to recap, so big goals give direction. Breakdowns create action. Progress happens in weeks, not years. So just slow it down and get very specific. And like I said before, just layer everything.